Limbo Express. As I sat half asleep on my train journey home from a particularly drunken night out, a jolt awoke me slightly. I gradually noticed something bizarre that chilled me to my core. There was no sound anymore, no voices from the other passengers, no rumbling from the engine, not even the whistle of the wind, just an endless, deafening silence. I quickly sat up and looked around to find that the crowded, noisy train I had gotten onto was completely deserted. I got up and staggered down the empty carriage, and I became aware that although it was a newer model, it looked ancient. The windows were cracked and covered in dust. The fabric on the seats looked tatty, ripped and faded, and the lights were dim and flickered ominously. The floor was covered in some kind of strange grease. Then, as I looked at my reflection in one of the few windows which weren't damaged, I seen a terrified old man looking back at me. Myself, but ancient, just like the train. I walked further down, finding more of the same, and I sat down on one of the worn, ragged seats as I was feeling tired after the walk. Eventually the train appeared to stop at a station platform of sorts. It was decorated in beige and yellow with fluorescent lights, and through the large archway leading out of the platform, I saw an endless maze of dated yellow wallpaper, beige carpets, and the kind of cheap, square, buzzing lights found only in offices and government-owned buildings. I considered getting off, but then I seen a humanoid, pitch-black shadow dart past the arch, and I reconsidered, hoping desperately that the train doors were locked. The vehicle took off again, zooming into the endless darkness at such speed it felt almost instant. And so I waited, gripped with rising terror that I might never get home, or that I might die of old age, or that I may not be alone on the train, although it did seem utterly empty. The carriage unexpectedly jolted to a halt again, and I found myself in a dimly lit area, illuminated only by crimson light emanating from an unknown source. The area seemed to go on forever, and felt just as ominous as the last. I felt a presence in the area. Though it was desolate and dark, I heard a noise that chilled me to the bone. A high-pitched, eerie beeping somewhere down the train behind me, indicating the doors were opening. I looked around, breathing heavily, praying for dear life that nothing had gotten on. But suddenly, the train shot off into oblivion again like a bullet, and I relaxed a little. The journey through realms unknown continued for what felt like 5 minutes. However, time became hard to keep track of. And there was a noise as all the lights went off, and the train was in complete, blinding darkness. I felt a presence behind me, and I became aware of it getting closer. Before long, it was level with me. I felt it near me, but could see nothing. I tried to speak, but my breath caught, and I was unable to make a sound. The entity passed me until I could sense it no longer. Eventually the train came to a standstill, and the doors opened once more. I held my eyes shut to avoid seeing whatever horror got off, knowing that the sight of it would haunt my nightmares. Eventually the train launched into darkness once more as the lights turned on again. I thought I heard terrified screams in that last moment beforehand. We stopped again in what appeared to be some kind of sunset, barren wasteland, with no discernible landmarks, but a nearby carnival with flashing lights and red and white tents. I sat slumped against the window, exhausted, frightened and exasperated. And as I gazed at my wrinkled reflection, I closed my eyes for a moment. I opened them to see a very different face. A white, distorted, scarred visage with long black hair, hypnotic eyes, red lips carved into an unnaturally wide smile, and a long, pointed nose. It was spindle-limbed and emaciated. It grinned wickedly at me and made its way towards the door in what seemed to be a dance. I held my breath and clenched my fists as that ominous beeping came once more. But before it could board the train, hurtled into the void again, and suddenly I was back. This stop looked like a completely normal train station. I got up, walking to the door. I was about to press the button when I realised that something wasn't right. This place was dark and had a strange greenish blue tint to it. As I watched, more and more seemed strange. The place appeared to be aging before my eyes, just as the train had. Then I noticed that the people here weren't moving at all. They were motionless, and I noticed a detail I missed before. They were all identical. They were all clad in suits and fedora hats, with exactly the same faces. I moved away from the door, and those features twisted into anger. The liminal locomotive shot into the darkness, and I staggered. As I fell, the carriage transformed around me, and someone screamed, "Get off of me!" I looked up, seeing a man glaring down at me. I realised that I had fallen onto his lap. I got up, looking around the busy train I had got onto what now felt like weeks ago. I reached my intended destination and got off without incident. Examining myself, I was young again. I sat watching the train speed into a tunnel, wondering if it was all real, or if I had gone mad, or if it was a dream. But with my questions unresolved, I spread my story in hopes that somebody might know what happened to me. Do you?